can't wait because Serene brings with us another perspective. So I'm so glad, nuggets of gold coming from Steve. Serene is the talent acquisition lead, on the global front. And she works with Airbus Singapore. She has over 20 years of experience with various MNCs at both HQ level and also regional level. And of course, in the subsidiaries that they have acquired. And the long and short of it is she has lived and worked in France and Singapore. And I know Serene personally as well. And I know she's very passionate in what she does. She's a very deep thinker. And then, amidst her very quiet self, she appears quiet, but inside her head, it's not quiet. She comes up with really prolific stuff as well. And I know that she's really passionate about identifying culture fit between individuals and the company. She finds great joy in developing the talent. I know she invests in high potential. I know that for a fact. Okay, and so today she's going to share with us, right, work culture and you, and that's from an HR perspective. I'm going to stop share and pass the floor to Serene. Yes.
Hi, Eileen. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thanks, Eileen, for the very kind introduction. I'm going to share my screen right now. And I hope it's coming up. And let me know if you can see my screen, everybody.
I can see the full screen.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, all right. So good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Eileen, again for the opportunity. And hi, everyone out there. I hope that all of you are well this Wednesday. So in my next 20 minutes or so, I will share with you what is company culture, how to discover it, and how to make understanding company culture to your advantage in your career journey. Okay, but before I start, a little bit about me. So I'm a HR professional. I know Eileen personally, as we were investing in our passion about people and culture, right? So I have worked as HR business partner, learning and development, compensation and benefits. So basically walked the whole cycle of HR. And now I'm in talent acquisition for Airbus at the HQ level. So I work in various MNCs headquartered in the USA, mainly, interestingly, in a manufacturing and sales environment. I also work in Singapore government-linked corporations and stat boards, Sembcorp and DSO. And then finally, right now in European-based companies in Airbus and before that, ZAir. So regardless of where I work, I realized that however different the company's background might be, people always matter and people make the difference. And the magic is that once you start to know them, you'll be able to find commonalities to work together regardless of background. So I also think I'm very blessed today to be preceded by Steve, the speaker, who spoke about this with you on how you culture add. And also he mentioned that culture will change. Yeah, so I think what is important is that to know and understand the culture, because in my 20 years of HR experience, I have seen how very competent candidates are either not selected or cannot succeed in the organization due to culture fit or inability to understand the culture or not able to flex or adapt to the company culture. So I saw in the chat just now, there was a question, is it job fit or culture fit that matter most? I'm so happy to see this question. And most of the time, job fit is not, you probably have matched the job fit when you were asked to go for an interview, but it's that culture fit that you want to impress upon. Okay, so the agenda, quickly, I will share what is company culture. I'll do that very quickly since Steve has given us a very good intro. Why is it important from a talent acquisition point of view? How to discover culture? How do hiring manager assess? And what can you do to ace your culture search? And here I would like to share culture adaptability. So quickly, culture is a set of common values that bind people together, and it refers to their ways of thinking and normally expressed through norms. So when we say norms, we refer to behaviors and rules. Those are the two easiest. Okay, so culture is not an object, it's not It's not something that will say, this is my culture, and then they say word for word, and then you can trust it. You need to feel it. But the easiest way to identify is through behaviors and rules. What do I mean by that? Okay, so look at Singapore. In our pledge, we have this phrase, equality, and look at our behavior, regardless of where we are in our position, auntie, uncle, young boy, okay, CEO, you still have to queue up and get your char kway teow. Okay, so this is our equality culture. It's expressed through our behavior. Another way to look at it, since I come with quite a lot of manufacturing experience, a culture that thinks safety first usually would have safety rules. So I just want to ask you to keep that both in mind, because when you go for your interview, these are the things that you want to look out for. So more on that, how to discover culture. So culture is not a physical thing, as I mentioned, and you can observe it. You probably can see it and hear it as the first cut. You know, so they are like your first clue, like a detective. This is your first clue, but you will need to investigate further to know what it actually is. Okay, when we say see it, okay, obviously then it's dress code, layout, company website, but may not be so relevant anymore with our changing work, how we work today, right? So, but still, that is the most obvious. Okay, and then you can listen to it, hear it through the speech. When you go for your interview, and then when people write to you, how do they sign off? Mr. ABC, or just best regards, Serene, for example. Okay, so do they use their first name or their full names? Do they use their job title, or it's just very casual? So how people address each other. And observation, you can see it through norms. And usually we look at culture through their response time, their communication type. Is it more use of emails or WhatsApp? What are the meeting preferences? What is the frequency? What's the duration? Do they prefer to have meeting with cameras on or off? Work practices, like where do most people conversation begin, over coffee or at lunch or in meeting? So I like what Steve mentioned very much, and it's so true. Culture is learned and can evolve. It can change over time. Keep this in mind also when you are going for your job search. Okay, so why is culture very important? It's the soft part of how the organization operates. So in a survey by Duke University, so Eileen and I, we have some organizational psychologist background, right? So whatever we say, we want to find statistics to back it up. So 90% of global executives rate culture as very important. Okay, why? It creates first a sense of belonging. When you can align with the companies whose values and beliefs you also believe in, you're more likely to feel a sense of belonging. Second, culture enables the company to operate optimally. So it's like okay, imagine a company like a human body. So culture is like the tendons and ligaments of the company that holds the company together. So to function optimally, companies will want to hire new members who can work with the existing team. So you can have different opinions and experiences. I know nowadays is all about the speak up culture, about diversity of thoughts, right? So we want to have that. We want people to speak up, but in a way that is acceptable to that company's values. Okay, so third is trust. When companies hire, they want to look for people whom they think will be able to work with the existing team. Or if I'm just a hiring manager, I want to look for a new team member who can work with my currently team who have been with me for X number of years. So because when people can work together with less friction, trust happens. And when there's trust within the company, things get done faster and people can rely on each other. And finally, culture impacts the team's performance and the company's performance because of all the three reasons mentioned. Okay, so how do we assess, how do we understand what is the culture, both from your point of view as a job seeker and from the hiring manager and the HR who is interviewing you? How do they assess job culture? Okay, so there is always a conscious and a subconscious observation. Okay, I hate to say this, but the truth is that the subconscious play a very big part. Okay, and more companies are actually trying to reduce the subconscious assessment through personality surveys or panel interviewers, but it's still important for you to be aware about the power of the subconscious. So subconscious is something that you cannot see. Just like previously, I think I saw in the chat or in Steve's talk, people won't ask you like, what is culture? They won't ask you directly, but yet they are sussing you up, So it's important for you to understand and to tackle the subconscious. You want to work on the conscious. So you can ace the interview by preparing yourself to showcase the best of you. So more about this in this in this slide. Okay, so firstly, when you enter into the interview, you got to kind of preempt what are the possible questions you'll be asked during the interviews. So you can see a list of questions here. For every question asked, there is a reason why they're asking that. So if you know what they are looking for, why they are asking that, then you will be able to respond and showcase the best of you that is there for them to see. Because this is something that they cannot see and read through your resume. Okay, so I actually would like to go through some examples. So for the sake of time, I won't be going through all of them, but let's look at the first question. This is usually the opening question. You sit down in the interview, you start your Zoom meeting, and they have some small talk, and then they ask you, tell me about yourself. So when they ask you this, they are looking for who you are as a person and what drives you. They are not looking for you to read out your resume. Okay, and for those of us who might think, hey, why do they ask? They should have read my resume. Again, they are not looking for you to read out your resume. They are looking for who you are, what motivates you, what drives you. So this is your chance to differentiate yourself. So I would recommend that you tell them who you are, what you are passionate about, what have you done, and why you are here now. So for example, if you are, let's say, hypothetically, you are applying for a customer service role, then you say, hey, my name, I love to help people succeed. Thus, I have worked as customer service in my career for 10 years or for 2 years, or I like to enter into a customer service career. And right now I'm super excited to apply for this role in your company to solve problems for customer. Okay, next possible question could be, what is your preferred work style? And here they are looking for a fit, but subconsciously, okay, they are also looking at how willing are you able to flex your style. Okay, so if you just look at the conscious question is that, okay, you just tell what it is, but subconsciously, nobody is perfect and there's no one perfect person. So we always, like it or not, we always will have to adapt at some point or another. So you want to showcase as well if you're able to adapt. So be honest here, be very honest, but also showcase your adaptability. For example, if you prefer to work on your own first, you're a person who is more introverted, you prefer to take time to reflect, to sort out your thoughts first, say so. But no matter how introverted you are, I bet you that you also will need to work with other people. So instead of saying, I prefer to work alone, full stop, okay, and then hoping for the interviewer to probe more, you could volunteer to say, I prefer to work first by sorting out my thoughts and reflect on my own. And after that, I like to check in with my colleagues and my manager. So here you show your most preferred style and also you show your adaptable style. Okay, so I have as well a few other questions that I usually ask or that I like to ask in interviews. And due to time, I won't be going through all of the questions, but I hope that you get the gist of what I'm trying to share
Very
here
good.
with
Yeah.
you.
I think they'll like to hear specific examples. That was very good sharing. Yeah.
Right, cool. So if you like to get more in depth, at the end of the talk, I'll show you a link to a guide, okay, to prepare yourself. So then we talk about, a lot of time we talk about culture, then how to use that to ace your career search. Okay, so I actually want to introduce you to this topic, culture fit and culture adaptability. So are you looking for a fit or are you looking for a place where maybe it's not 100% fit, but you can somehow still find yourself be able to adapt to it? So what's the difference between the two? culture fit. Okay, culture fit happens when your core values and beliefs about a desirable workplace align with those of the current employees and of the potential employer. So this used to be a winning strategy, but may no longer be, as culture can change as companies navigate the increasingly changing markets and evolving workforce. So I just give you, for example, okay, in the past in manufacturing firms, right? So safety culture means safety culture at work, but now safety culture also looks at safety culture at home, about well-being at home, about your well-being when working remotely. So you can see in these 11 months, work culture has changed so much, caused by external factors beyond our control. Then what is culture adaptability? So culture adaptability refers to the ability to rapidly learn and conform to organizational culture norms as they change over time. So I like to also touch on what Steve mentioned in the preceding talk, that he said that culture, when he was in Taiwan, I remember he said that they recreated the culture, right? So I just want you to remember that culture can change over time. So in case you're looking for a perfect culture fit, the devil's advocate thinking is that, are you sure this culture will stay forever? Okay, or is it better to look at culture adaptability, and then it will evolve and you have the confidence that you can evolve and adapt over time? Okay, so to look at possibly, I let you decide, if you want to look at culture fit or culture adaptability. Regardless of either one, you can prepare for yourself before the interview. So before the interview, you want to do your research, read up about the company's culture, read the company's website, focus about the company's values, observe. I like to observe photographs, posting of the employee activities. You can see how real are they. Usually I like to look for companies who showcase a photograph of real people. Yeah, okay. You can also find this on the annual reports or job advertisement. I'm not asking you to read like 100 pages of the annual report, but you can zoom in to the people segment. And usually people-focused companies have a segment on how people have been their differentiating factor. Okay, then you can also find out about the company's reviews on websites such as Indeed and Glassdoor, but I would say do it with a pinch of salt. Okay, so if you start to read that, oh, this company doesn't value employees at all, bad workplace, bad pay, okay, take note of that, put that in your brain memory, but also you want to critically see how many people said this, right? If it's just 1 out of 1,000, okay, maybe you shouldn't be so concerned, right? And you also may want to consider doing a quick search on LinkedIn on the people who are currently working there. And nowadays with social media, you can also potentially find out about your interviewer. Okay, and in case there are people who have worked there or are working there now and they're willing to talk to you, ask them how is it like to be working there. Okay, then once you have done your research, you want to have some time to self-reflect. Self-reflect on your work or life experiences that showcase this value. Okay, I am sure for every one of the company's value, and this I say, I make a bet, okay? I make a bet that most companies' values are wholesome ones. Okay, most companies are out there to support people, to grow the business, and they want to do good. Okay, so I also make a bet that whatever their values are, I'm sure you can find something in your life that showcase this value. So write them down and have them ready at the top of your mind. With this, you are prepared. You are prepared to highlight. By highlighting, I mean that you can customize your resume to the role you're applying for. Highlight in your resume in terms of your work achievements. Make sure to structure it such that you showcase work achievements that kind of can relate to the value of your targeted company. And during the interview, you can also cite examples and showcase areas where you reflect a culture fit. Okay, so I will do this more on a short exercise. So we will go through it in the next few slides. Okay, so far, is it okay? Are you guys okay?
Guys, give her your emoji, thumbs up. She's got nuggets of gold, else you have to pay for her time consultancy.
Yeah, I try to speak very quickly, just to make sure
I
we are
can
on
see,
time.
I know. Yeah.
Okay,
I think you're
thank you.
getting a lot of votes here. Yeah, at least support.
Okay, thank you. All
Yeah,
right.
listening.
Okay, cool. All right. So during the interview, you want to dress the part. Okay, here I also like to caution, in case you search like company like a Google, okay, jeans or sneakers, right? But you want to wear the nicest part of your jeans and your sneakers, right? So it doesn't mean that you go with your shirt a bit, ugly, not ugly lah, I mean untidy and not clean, right?
It's
You still,
subjective,
yes, oh,
beauty
it's
is in
very,
the eyes of beholder.
exactly, ugly is very subjective, but neatness is not.
Yeah.
Neatness is very, is very obvious. So if you have, you dress neatly, dress to the best of yourself, dress the part. Okay, and then use the same language. I'm going to share this with you in the next exercise. This also links to what I mentioned about highlighting yourself, and also ask questions, right? So ask questions to find out about the culture.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I go through the exercise. So let's imagine we're helping Sheila. Sheila is interviewing for the role of operations team leader in a logistics company. And she has done her research. The potential employer values collaboration. So Sheila did her research. Collaboration is the key. Sheila reflects. Okay, remember the second part was reflecting. And she's experienced in getting teams to collaborate. For example, she worked with the quality and facilities department on safety improvements, and they actually reduced accident rates by 30%. Now, she sits across the interviewer and they ask her, share with me your experience in working in teams. How would you think she should answer? Right. So here, Eileen, we need your help to launch the poll. So we have two answers proposal. Okay. And
And then on
imagine if you are
screen.
helping Sheila, which will be your answer?
Yes, so the poll has opened. I see some people have already started clicking their answer. Yep, and then there are still others maybe reading through, wondering what's that second choice. And the first one, so first one is I've led teams to work with quality and facilities. We managed to work together very well. Is that convincing enough compared to the second one in my last job? Right? We needed to reduce accident near misses. Okay, and by at least 15%, I reached out to collaborate with quality and safety. And together we exceeded the target, and accident near misses was reduced by 30%. Wow. Our collaboration made the success possible. So we've got like more than 73% of you have voted. And do we have more? Are there more people still deliberating? Maybe their answer is both, Serene, because we like to have everything, a bit of everything.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe we can close the poll. What do you think?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Let's end the poll here, and then I'm gonna share the results with everyone, so you can take a look at the result.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
Mm.
Yeah. So indeed, I can see your answer. The first answer is not wrong. The first answer is correct. But the second answer, I would say, is the preferred answer. So it will impress me as a interviewer, and it also helps Sheila. Sheila explicitly explains why she is a good fit by highlighting her past experience. Now, some of you may ask, okay, what if I don't have past experience, right? So what if I am fresh in this career change, right? You can still find topics which are most related to this and try to relate it and draw the analogy explicitly for your interviewer. So you may notice that I emphasize the word explicitly because these are things that we don't see in your resume and we need you to showcase to us. And we as interviewers, we get very excited and very happy You know, when you start to showcase with us, like, wow, why are you so motivated for the job? Wow, why do you think you're such a good fit? And we get very, very excited, right? So in case you feel that, would I be seen as too outspoken or too much about selling myself? No, this is your chance to sell yourself and we want to see it, okay? So I hope this little exercise can help you and also support you when you're doing your homework, you know, in preparing and reminding yourself what are the areas that you want to highlight. Okay, so then from your side, okay, you can ask the interviewer, you can ask your potential employer questions to find out more about the culture. You can ask like, what is the culture like? But you can also help us, you know, help the interviewer out by asking in a little bit more detail, in a little bit more personal way. Okay, so the type of questions that you ask can also showcase your willingness to adapt. Okay, so there are 4 key questions that I can think of. You can frame your own as well. Okay, the first one I like to ask is, how long have you been here? Or why do you like? And if they have been here for a very short time, then I will ask them, oh, what attracted you to join this company? Or if they have been here for a long time, I say, wow, that is really impressive. And what do you like about it? Okay, so there's always a good thing in anything. Okay, the second question I like to ask is like, I like people to ask me is, what do you look for in your ideal candidate? So I know this person is also evaluating. Third question that people could ask is, how can I be a good colleague to you? This is very powerful if you're asking also a potential peer, because in some companies they have peer interviews. Okay, and then the fourth one is if there's one thing you can change in the team, what would that be? Okay, so now I would like to raise a poll to ask you, which question do you think will allow you to get information and at the same time impress the interviewer the most? There's no right or wrong answer, just to get a feel.
I've launched the poll.
Thank you, Eileen.
And the poll is exactly what Serene just said, but I'm just repeating. Which question provides information about the culture and at the same time impress them? Hello, I missed the alphabet there. Hello. And so we've got like 1/4 of you have already responded. Yay! But there's still another 3/4 to go. Okay, chalking up very fast. So I think we've just passed the halfway mark. All right, and we're talking about 125 of us here
Okay.
in our midst. What do you think? So looks like quite close, yeah? Quite close. But if we don't want to think too hard, then we say all of the above. How about that?
Yeah.
Or situationally, or maybe it's not fair. Yeah. Look, guys, I'm just kidding. All right. Maybe what we are saying is, you know, depending on the situation, we might opt 1, we might opt 2, we might do the third one, or even the fourth one.
That's a very good point, Eileen, that you brought up, right? So it's also basing on the situation, and you want to be, when you are in the interview, you want to be natural, you want to be in a conversation, you want to be at the best of yourself. So so let it come out naturally. But having said that, you need to prepare so that on the spot it is natural, right? So don't ever let it sound like a
Answer,
robotized way of asking.
I'm sharing the results on screen so everybody can see what majority of us have voted. But
super, thank you. Yeah, I think we got a fair distribution and seems like question, how can I be a good colleague to you? And the last question, if there's one thing you can change in that team, what would that be? Having the highest ranking, and then of course all of the above. Yeah, so I just wanted to have this small exercise and poll to bring to your attention that you can showcase yourself not only by responding to the interviewer's question, but also by the way you ask question, right? And you may also find yourself formulating questions on the spot based on the conversation, based on the flow and the chemistry you have with the interviewers. Okay, so moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah, so after the interview, it's not over, right? So after the interview, remain at the top of their mind. Even if you do not get the immediate role, you want to be remembered for future possible roles or even referral. Sometimes you don't get the role, perhaps because of the job fit, not because you are not competent, but maybe because at the time of the team or the time that of the organization where they are now. Sometimes organizations are in a critical stage, right? So they want to hire somebody who is super experienced to step in to firefight. But sometimes organizations have a bit more time to groom and to train. So it depends. So don't take interview rejections personally, but take it as a learning experience, as a journey. Okay, so after every interview, I would say thank you, and you can send it to their interviewer. And in case you got the interview through a recruiter, you could also give them a word of thanks. It may not change the interviewer's decision, but it will reflect who you are as a person. And even if you are not selected for the role, they may consider you because of your culture fit, and they may think of you for future roles or even refer you to other roles.
Yeah, I remember one case, just a quick one. I remember at the end of the interview, I asked the interviewer, can we connect on LinkedIn? You know, I was so enthused, right? And she looked at me and she said, no. So I had to bury my head into the ground. I wish, of course, that the floor will open and swallow me up. But gracefully, I have to say, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine, you
Yeah,
know?
you know what, Eileen, actually you have nothing to lose.
Yeah,
And I think the loss is not yours, but the other person, right?
yeah.
So in this new economy, it's about the growth mindset, it's about connecting, it's about sharing. So no harm. So in
No,
case you ever, I really hope not, are in the same situation like Eileen, whether you send a thank you note, there's no response, and then you
it's okay.
connect on LinkedIn, there's no response. Don't take it out on yourself, right? You never know until you try. And it doesn't hurt to be friendly. It doesn't hurt to be nice.
Yes, and actually she did explain why. So she
Mm.
went. I think she could tell my body language was like this, but I went, it is okay. It is okay. And then she said, oh, I only use LinkedIn for my own private circle. So then
Okay,
I realized, okay lah, different use of LinkedIn. So
got it, got it. All right. Okay, so that's so much about the linking part. That was one of my recommendation. Yeah, doesn't hurt to try. Another way is that, your resume, I don't know if you ever face yourself in a situation that you find, oh, there's so much about you, but how do I capture it into 2 pages of my resume, right? And then the other most interesting thing about you could be that you are evolving every time. Every time you're upgrading, you're changing. So you want your profile to be live and updated. So this could be in the form of a digital card. So I got to know this from Eileen. So Eileen going to mention you, okay, which
yeah,
I really like this, like art of career, Eileen in her organization, they have created this idea of having a digital card, and I think it will be very useful for me in my talent acquisition role to keep up to date with my candidates. Or if my candidates can share with me that, hey, here's a link to my mobile card, and to my digital card, and it's so easy for me to keep on track. So whenever my organization asks me like, hey, Serene, give me 5 candidates on XYZ competence, and these people are on the top of my mind.
yeah. Do
Okay,
it
and
now before everybody does it.
yeah, yeah, who knows, right? Maybe next time this will be the norm rather than the resume.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And finally, stay in touch, be present from time to time. I think you can drop a line to say hello, along with the thoughts about, that you're constantly evaluating, you're constantly improving. You want to let them know as well. So give them an update on what you have recently achieved. You could say, hey, I just recently completed my professional conversion program, or I just signed up for LinkedIn Learning because this will broaden my skill set in XYZ. And if there's any role in mind, keep me in mind, hope to stay in touch. Okay, so you can do this in suitable doses. Again, there's no right formula, but I would say keep in frequent touch, once a month, once every 2 weeks. But don't do this daily, you don't want to spam people's inbox, but once in a while, we actually welcome it. It's actually very nice. Okay, so you can notice that my whole talk is about culture adaptability. I believe more in culture adaptability than a perfect fit. But you also want to ask yourself, how much should you adapt? It's not just the company interviewing you, it's also for you to assess if this company is for you and if this role is right for you. Okay, so take time to evaluate the company's values, the experience you felt at the interview, the conversation style. Can you envision yourself working in such an environment? Okay, and I also want to share with you that it's very rare that you got a first interview and then you get the job, you know. And when you find yourself in that situation, don't be discouraged. So it's only when you go out and try and do, come back and fine tune and adapt and go for the next one and try and do, that's where you find your feet. Okay, and you start to discover yourself. Okay, so no matter how much I talk about reflecting, do your self-reflection, there is a time you need to go out and take the action. All right. So I think that company job and manager will not be perfect, and they will never be. And most successful careers I've seen require some adaptation from the individual. So how much do you need to adapt? Can you do that? You want to keep your core. Okay, there's a certain extent you want to adapt as you want to keep your core principles. So I remember that as we were, when Eileen approached me to talk about this topic, then we exchanged about this, and then we talk about this, and she shared about importance of professional identity. And recently I read an article about working identity. So professional and working identity, if I merge, is a constant process. They are constantly working on it, right? So you want to be happy, you want to be in a good place. So if you are interested, you can talk to Eileen about discovering your professional identity.
That's a bonus.
Yeah, right. Because I really think that is so important, right? It's kind of a paradox that I'm saying, you know, about adapting and then finding your core. So you know you want to adapt, but there's a core, there's a sensitive part that is close to you. You know, this is what you stand for, that you don't want to change, right?
Yeah.
So you want to know the balance.
Yep. And the good
Right.
news is we are, WSG has also mentioned, has intention to actually do one run of the professional identity workshop next year. So in January. So look out for it. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that's it, right? So finally, if I could quickly summarize, culture is shown through norms, through behaviors. And that is why interviews are so important, to show who you are beyond your resume. Okay, because culture fit is assessed through interviews, you can ace it by highlighting the areas of your personality that best fit with the culture. And remember to do your preparation before the interview to showcase the best of you during and after the interview. Okay, so with this, I wish you all the best. Stay safe, stay well, and remember to stay prepared.
Wow. Thank you so much. Can we all show, our support to Serene for sharing so much? Yeah, thank you so much. I know she has a lot more nuggets of gold to share with us.